Hi, it's Karen, the Weekend Craftaholic, and to celebrate Australia Day here today, I've got a couple of these Lawn Fawn stamp sets that I'm going to make a card with. So this first one is I Love Eucalyptus, and the second one is the Party Koala kit, which I actually got for having a birthday in January. So a really great kit, special edition at the moment, but I'm sure it'll be available for sale soon. So apologies for my head being in the way there. I've recently changed my recording setup. Not quite working out for me, so I do need to fix that. But I have done lots of editing throughout the video to try and remove it. So I'm just getting my sizing right at this stage for the card that I want to make, and I want to use the blue, red and white theme of the Australian flag of the colours. So I'm going to layer those up, and I'm just actually making a decision now where to apply my stamps. So I'm going to use the koala from the Party Koala kit, and I just love that little party hat he has, but I'm also going to use the Eucalyptus Leaf from the other kit. So I'm just stamping this down now on my acrylic block using some VersaFine, as you can see. I could of course use a stamp positioning tool, but I've decided here just to do a normal acrylic block. So I've just stamped a practice sheet here because I've decided actually I'm going to stamp this out and then apply it with some foam backing just to make it a bit more dimensional. Now, whilst recording this, I did get a phone call and that to stop in the middle. And whilst I was waiting, I did realise actually that the colour of the blue I had before wasn't quite dark enough. So I've made my own card base with some cardstock that I had in that darker blue colour. So I've decided I'm going to do some colouring just with some colouring pencils, and that's because I've recently been able to get my hands on Gamsol. Now, it's been really tricky to get it over here in Australia, so I'm excited to finally be able to play with this. And basically when I colour with my pencil, I apply this over the top and it blends the colour so you don't see the brush strokes through that. So it's a really nice effect, especially for me. I don't have any Copic markers, so blending's usually a bit of an issue for me. So it's brought a new lease of life actually to my pencils, which is great. So I've skipped through that because again my head was in the way unfortunately, but I've got my finished little koala now, and I've got this old planner sticker kit. I think it was Studio Calico, and I think this little beer glass is going to fit perfectly inside his little tummy there. You can of course put the flower or the lovette that comes with a Lawn Fawn kit, but being Australia Day and knowing how much we love our beer and our alcohol, I thought this was a perfect little twist for it. So I'm just testing that out now first on a little piece of paper just to make sure it does look like a beer glass, and it fits really nicely actually. It was almost made for it. So I'm really pleased with how that's turned out, putting that in the middle for him. So that's the koala almost done. I'm not going to show you the process of actually die cutting these because the video is going to be long enough as it is. But what I always do is make sure that I do more than one when I have all of the stamps out, just in case I do stuff one up and make a bit of a mistake, which does happen all the time, of course. So the ones that I don't use, if they are both good to go, I normally keep with the kit itself. So if I do need a card in a rush, I've got them already done and coloured in. So you can see now I'm actually redoing his hat because I did make a mess of that first hat that I did. I tried to use glitter thinking that would make the card pop a little bit more, but the space was too small really for the glitter to stand out. So now instead I've just coloured those in. I was going to apply Winker Stella over it, but it's obviously smudged that as well because it blends well with the distress markers, so don't make the same mistake that I did. Now I'm colouring this other koala just so I could show you because I obviously had to edit the first one out when I coloured it initially, but you can see just how quick, and I'm not taking too much consideration and care when I'm doing this. I'm using nice circular movements, and because this is more, I guess, it thins it out is probably the best way of describing it. You can see you can get these blending tools, and when you dip it in you can see that it just soaks up that Gamsol really nice and easy. So always put it in lots of different layers of pencil because this is just going to thin those layers of pencil out. So don't push on hard and think you'll then get a lighter colour. You just got to keep reapplying nice circular movements if you want to get shading on your koala, which I wasn't too concerned about. I think it looks really cute as it is actually, and it's such a small image not to worry, in my opinion, of that blending effect too much. So I'm just going to go over my leaf again, and again the Gamsol's really good if you want two different colours to merge them together. Obviously this is a small image and I'm not too worried about that for these because it's just a basic grey. If I'd have added darker grey I may have done. So Now that I've got that done, I've got it die cut as you can see on the table. Again, apologies for the wobble. I really do need to change this camera setup that I got for Christmas. It's not working as well as the old one. But I'm just applying this first layer now, just some tape runner, using my T-ruler just to make sure it's level, because as you can see, I still made a bit of a mess at the top and bottom getting that spaced out. Now with stamps, I always struggle to get any sentiment perfectly straight. Obviously, if I was going to put it on a scrap piece of paper, it wouldn't matter too much because I could then cut it according to the size of the stamp. But because I'm going to put this straight on, I do need to make sure it's nice and straight. So I've got a couple of little Versamax here. I'm going to use this smaller pad just because it's easy with these sentiments to apply. And I'm going to use this Ranger white embossing powder to make it stand out on that red as well. Another good tip that I got, I can't remember which YouTube site it was, when you're using the heat gun, is to use the back of the paper first before you do the front of it. Just to help it stop the warping as much. So I've been doing that for quite a while now and had some really good results with that. So now I'm applying the white on top, and you can see here that's now giving me the good effect that I wanted. But I felt it was probably a bit too much white in that space. So I've got these watercolor paints, and I really like these. They've got you can't really tell on screen, but they've got a nice shimmery glimmer effect. And they were so cheap from Spotlight, they were like $6. So I'm just using a couple of colours here, nice and very quick. I thought I'd use the yellow for the sand and then the blue for just for the sky, I guess, being careful not to overlap them because I didn't want to have that green colour in the middle, which obviously you would get mixing yellow and blue. And I'm just using a little cloth here just to wipe up all of that spillage on my craft mat as well. Now again, because I'm impatient, I'm using my heat gun and I'm not worrying too much about the warping because I know that will settle down as the paper cools. So I'm just applying, just remembering to colour in my little beer glass, and I'm ready to tidy up and finish off really. All that's left for me to do is just apply that to the back of that card so my layering's all done. And I do try to be precise with this T-ruler. I do love it. It's one of my favourite tools because I'm not very good, being left-handed, I think, of getting things level. But I try my best, as we all do. Now here I am applying the some of the foam tape to the back of these pieces, and I always keep lots of little pieces, as you can see there on the edge of the tape, especially using Lawn Fawn stamps quite a lot. Those little critters and all of the little accessories they have are so tiny, so I don't want anything to go to waste. So you can see here now it's quite a fiddly job actually with some of these stamps, but I think it's definitely worth it. They're very cute. So that's going on now, and before I actually adhere it down, I'm just going to check for positioning and make sure that I'm happy with that. And then I realised I forgot to do the eucalyptus leaf, or the branch as it were. And then again I have a little bit of a job getting that down because I've got to obviously make sure that none of the foam backing shows through on the other side. And I think that's looking really cute. But as I'm doing it, I think this probably looks a little bit sparse at the top, and with it being Australia Day, I've not actually got any stars in my stash at all. The only thing I could find were these little glitter ones. So I think I'm going to do the Southern Cross in stars at the top just to break up that space really more than anything. So I'm just going to apply these in position, and I know what my working space is. And how cute is that little party hat that he has? It really makes it more of a fun critter, I think. So I'm just going to pull out some of these. It is a bit of a confetti mix of sequins that I've got, but I do know there's some silver stars in there, so I'm just going to pull them out to one side to make it easier for me to apply them later. Now I did decide just with this pencil to colour in where I wanted the sequins to go, the stars, because I knew they'd be covered up anyway. But on reflection, I probably should have just used my Zig pen and put the glue down straight away, because I do stuff up here getting the position right of that particular star. I wish I had different size stars actually, so it would look a little bit better as well, because they are all slightly different when we look at them. But I love this Zig pen. It's a two-way one, so if you do leave it for a while, it becomes movable and more temporary, I guess. But here I am now just applying those little stars over. And like I say, I wish they were a little bit bigger, but I just think it adds, again, a little bit more of that Aussie taste to this card, which I really like. It gives a little bit of interest in that top corner. So that's my card, near enough done and dusted. All that's left for me to do is a sentiment on the inside. Here I'm just using my adhesive eraser just to get rid of some of that anti-static powder that was left. I always find that happens when I'm using coloured paper. And I also did my Winker Stella on my koala and the leaf as well. And I think it's looking pretty cute, if I say so myself. So the sentiment on the inside I'm going to use from the other kit, I Love You Eucalyptus. I think this is again a really cute pen, as they always have nice pens. And I'm just going to put those straight underneath each other with a little of that as well. So again, I'm going to use the Versamark. I'm going to use the bigger pad this time once I've got it all set out. And I'm going to use the white embossing powder again because I've got that dark coloured card. It will stand out really well. And as you can see, when I'm applying my embossing powder, I always apply it 3 times. I never find it sticks the first time. So a few different layers of it really helps to make sure you get a good layer of it. And you can see how nice and bright that is. I love the effect when that starts to melt. It's like magic. Now I realise on the back I've got all these little pieces from the scrap paper to catch it, and I actually like the effect. To me it looks a bit like a Starry Night, so I decide I'm going to, for the rest of the blue edges, just try and capture some of those spare pieces that are on the desk as well. And not that I've used Versamark in any way, but I know that if I use that heat gun, they'll melt onto the paper. So I think that again gives a little bit more of a nice effect. And that is my card done. So I hope you like that. It's Happy Australia Day for us here, and nice long weekend. And I hope I've given you some inspiration. If you like what you see, please come again, and please hit subscribe to be notified of any future uploads. Thank you for watching.